to Let's Talk Diz, a show that gives you everything you need to know to help make your Disney vacation as magical as can be in just about 20 minutes. I'm your host, Jeff Goviello. With me each week is Disney Master Sandy from Easy Diz by Unison Impressions Travel Services. Sandy, how you doing this week?
I am doing great. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm excited. Tonight is the third and final installment of our holidays that can be found in Disney Parks series.
This is by far my favorite time of year there. And it's not just because I'm looking to escape the cold in New Jersey. Disney is always magical, but their holidays, whether it's Christmas, Kwanzaa, Hanukkah, that they're celebrated all the way through January, honestly, which people think of as a dreary month. In the travel industry, January is a busy month for us. It's called wave season. That's when more people book vacations than any other time of year because you all think January is a dreary time and want to dream about summer getaways. But January on both coasts brings some of my favorite celebrations at Disney. So look at your calendars. You're going to need to pack in a lot of events to plan Disney vacations around these superstar celebrations.
Well, and I'm over here, and nobody can see this because obviously it's the audio medium, but I'm over here nodding just constantly at everything that you're saying because I think it's spot on. You know, we're looking at, like we said, it's the part 3 of our 3-part series. The months we're going to focus on now are really November through February. And like you said, for us East Coasters, it's a great time to escape some of the cold weather, but there's also so much wonderful theming that goes on in this time of the year. So the first thing that I want to mention, since we are beginning in November, obviously a huge holiday in November in the United States is Thanksgiving. So talk to us a little bit about how we see Thanksgiving represented in the parks.
It's actually pretty minimal. I wish they would kind of get more involved. There is a Mickey and Minnie Thanksgiving costume, the typical pilgrim as you would think, but they only come out for really a day or two. Very last minute, Disney will announce which resorts are doing Thanksgiving meals. Occasionally, for a long time, they used to do typical Thanksgiving as well as actually Christmas in ballrooms at the Contemporary. But if you don't want to wait for that announcement, obviously Liberty Tree Tavern in the Magic Kingdom brings us Thanksgiving 365 days a year.
Now, you mentioned to me earlier that at this time of the year, they sneak something in there. So why don't you explain that to folks?
So we all know Disney is magic. And many of you, probably like my family and Jeff's family, a Christmas morning tradition is getting that Disney Christmas parade. And it is a compilation of Walt Disney World. They cut over to Disneyland. It is always sunny and beautiful and magical. And you wonder how they pull that off. And I will also tell you that I spend many years at Walt Disney World on Christmas Day. And I get texts from family and friends asking where on the parade route I'm standing so they can look for me during the show.
Sure.
And here's my secret. That's not the day that they tape it.
Right.
Taping starts the week after Thanksgiving. It is Disney. You will not find on national television a parade with rain in it. It is perfectly set up. You will find different musical acts on that same stage in front of the castle, magically 10 minutes apart, and there's no way they could have changed the scenery that quickly if you really think about it.
Right.
It is because it is about a 2-week process that starts, depending how Thanksgiving falls each year. Typically that Thursday or Friday after Thanksgiving is the beginning of the taping season. So if you're there, you may get to see it. And if you don't get to see it, keep your eyes peeled. There's usually some great stars in the parks who have performed for the parade show and then will be around the park with their families. So you may get a great celebrity sighting or two.
Well, the biggest entertainment company in the world. So it's not a live streamed parade is what you're telling us. It's recorded over a series of couple of weeks and then produced for that Christmas morning. But you mentioned Christmas. Obviously, that segues us into December. Holidays all over Walt Disney World in December. So we've done some shows on these things in the past. We've not mentioned all of them in great length, but we have mentioned a lot of them in significant portions of our program over the last 5 years or so. So give us the breakdown of the December holidays in Walt Disney World.
It is so much, but that is what makes it magical. And I want to say that with one exception, holidays there are very well done, very crossing a lot of different customs and things. They celebrate Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, Diwali. You'll see it all represented. And with the exception of the candlelight processional that I'll talk about in a minute, it is not heavily religious for any of it except candlelight. So I will readily admit I'm a Jewish girl who loves celebrating Christmas in Walt Disney World. They do an amazing job. So we start typically, as we have for years in the Magic Kingdom, select nights starting early in November through right before Christmas. Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party, which ends with the Christmas parade with none other than It Can't Be Christmas Without Santa.
Correct. A very important piece of Christmas.
It is also where one of my absolute all-time favorite Disney characters appear. They only come out for the holidays, and that is the Toy Soldiers. There is nothing quite like the Toy Soldier march down Main Street in that parade. And last year, if you go back to our episode about it, episode 204, you will hear my excitement that if you were early to the party in that 4 o'clock entrance before the official 7 p.m. party start, they let you meet the Toy Soldiers and take photos with them. So my year was made.
So as you mentioned, that's episode 204 for folks that are looking to check that out.
Episode 204. Last year, they added a second party. It was the first time we've seen a holiday party over at Hollywood Studios called Jollywood Nights. And I am excited to say I will be going back to Jollywood Nights in just a couple of weeks and be bringing you another episode about it. There's definitely some changes from last year. If you went and it rains, kind of like Mickey's Very Merry, it's tough in the rain. There's a lot outside. But it's another spin. I think it has a more adult take to it. Lots of different music things, dining, but a fun, different way to see things in the park. And if you don't want to celebrate the holidays, but you just want to get on all those top Hollywood Studios attractions with very short lines, Jollywood Nights is the way to do it.
So we had done that episode last year, and that was episode 202. So you've got a couple of episodes to check out before we do some stuff this year. 202 Jollywood Nights, 204 Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party for anything more in-depth than what Sandy gave you tonight. But you mentioned the candlelight procession, and I know that that's one of your favorite things. We've talked about that at length throughout the history of our show. But for folks that aren't aware, or maybe some new listeners, give us the Cliff Notes version of the candlelight processional.
The Cliff Notes version, that's hard. This is one of my all-time favorite things.
Sure.
It is a religious storytelling of Christmas. It is held in Epcot. It is free, my second favorite F word in the world. It is 3 times nightly, and this year they've shifted the times a little bit, 5, 6:45, and 8:15. It is a large choir made up from various high schools and cast members. And the middle of the choir is made up with people from the Voices of Liberty. Each night, there is a different celebrity narrator. Narrators are typically there 2 to 3 days, and they are all from different parts of American Icona. There's everybody from Josh Gad, Brendan Fraser, Ralph Macchio. It wouldn't be the season without Neil Patrick Harris, Jodie Benson, Gloria Estefan is a reader, Sterling K. Brown, Titus Burgess. It's really all out. And while they all follow the same script, they all get to do their own intro. And it is amazing to hear these celebrities talk about their excitement to be in Disney, to be celebrating the holidays with everybody, what Disney means to them, and what families and holidays mean to them. In a typical season, if I am lucky, I will watch this 4 to 6 times with multiple different narrators. My only bit of advice is it is a serious evening. It is extremely quiet. I don't know how you sit in the middle of Epcot and beyond the choir and the celebrity reader, you could hear a pin drop. So it's not the spot to go if you've got an infant who, is going to have a hard time sitting for that 40 minutes. But it is something everybody should see. I prefer the later shows. They all enter the theater holding candles. And obviously, candles at 5 o'clock in the afternoon don't really glow. But
Right.
when you do that 8:15 show and it's dark and over 100 people walk in with those candles lit and the trumpets start going, the mood is just not to be missed. I will also give a shout out to my favorite cast members on property. If you go to Candlelight Processional, look to the right-hand corner of the stage. You will see 2 sign language experts there. Take one song and watch them instead of the choir. Just watching them sign is so moving. Candlelight Processional is the only thing on property that is signed every single show all season long. So I guarantee you won't miss it.
Very, very cool. Okay, we got a couple of more for December, so let's finish those out for Walt Disney World in December.
Told you I couldn't be quick there.
It's okay.
Holiday storytellers around the world. They are another one of my favorites. The countries in Epcot each have a storyteller who tells the story of what it's like to have Christmas in their country. Do they call him Santa? What is his name? Does he come down the chimney? Does he leave something in your wooden shoes? Or is it the country that gives you the story of Hanukkah or the story of Kwanzaa? All of the countries are covered. Definitely check the Times Guide. It is typically 4 to 6 times per day. It is extremely hard to get them all in one day. Drop us an email if you want, and we have a little checklist to get you through because they are all awesome and worth hearing about all those traditions. Get that little bit of education in there if you pulled your kids out of school for the week.
And for a little bit more in depth, you got to go all the way back to episode 46, way, way, way back in time for episode 46, where we talk a little bit about that. But you got one more that you wanted to hit on in Walt Disney World in December.
They added something in Animal Kingdom 2 years ago that I love, the Merry Menagerie. They are just over the bridge when you enter into Animal Kingdom. Blue and white animals that will interact with you. They do have human handlers, and all of the animals, it is kind of shocking, but look carefully, they are all made out of recycled goods. So the perfect tie-in for Animal Kingdom, and I promise the kids will love these animals.
Very cool. All right, let's segue over to the West Coast. We're still, believe it or not, we're still in December, and we want to talk about how it's celebrated in Disneyland.
So if I am lucky, I get to both coasts because I absolutely love the way that they celebrate out there. First of all, unlike Walt Disney World, who has that candlelight processional 3 times a night from Thanksgiving weekend all the way through right after Christmas, they only have 2 performances of it, and seating is by invitation only. But if you can sneak in, that is great to see. The celebrity narrator there is always a surprise until the day of.
That's cool.
But over in California Adventure, they do the Festival of the Holidays. And they just have great weather all year long. So you can really sit outside and enjoy. They typically have 5 to 6 holiday stages set up. So there's going to be the Hanukkah stage, and several times a day you can learn about Hanukkah and hear the music of Hanukkah. They've got a Kwanzaa one. They've got a Christmas one. They do a lot of great things, and they have their own version of the toy soldiers that do come out and march multiple times a day. So definitely head over to California Adventure, and it wouldn't be a celebration in a Disney park without a food guide. So lots of great treats just for the holidays. Also, the candy shop in downtown Disney, which is still what they call it out in California, is known for their twisted peppermint sticks that they make only on the holidays. They are large and very limited quantity. People line up very early in the morning to get one of these specialties. So go and enjoy, spend some time at the resort. They do put up a gingerbread house, in the Grand Californian. You can sit over by their fireplace. Santa comes out at the hotel every night. Typically with their 3 hotels, you will be able to meet Santa in each hotel in Disneyland. So he's a busy man.
Sure is.
Check it out.
Sure is. Now, obviously people talk to you, they call you, where are you Christmas Day? Where are you in the parade? The other thing that I think is a really interesting holiday in a place like any Disney park is New Year's Eve. So talk to us about what we see on New Year's Eve.
So it's really not very different. They don't do big celebrations and food guides and things that we normally see, but what we typically do see is extra fireworks occurring at midnight.
Okay.
And you will find them at 3 out of the 4 parks: Hollywood Studios, Epcot, and Magic Kingdom. Parks definitely reach capacity that day.
Yeah.
So if you want to see those fireworks and get in, make sure you get there early. I will share the New Year's Eve of days past in Walt Disney World when it was still downtown Disney.
Uh-huh.
We had Pleasure Island where every night it was New Year's Eve. So that's definitely missed by many.
Yeah, definitely. And obviously that whole area now being Disney Springs is totally transformed, and you walk around there in the holidays, you see different things anyway, but that's certainly not Pleasure Island. Let's move on from December. As you hit New Year's Eve, you turn the calendar over into January. January in Walt Disney World is still pretty magical. So one of the things that I know that they do in January that is real near and dear to my heart is the Festival of the Arts. And I know that it's just another festival in Epcot, but it's a really, really dynamic one that I think has turned into a really cool way to highlight some of our artists.
I love it. And I actually think it's the most interactive one and the most with free things to do. Again, it's typically a great weather time in Florida. It's not hot. You can be outside. You can enjoy. And it's really about celebrating all of the arts. It's music. It's painting. It's, all these different things. I took years ago, they used to offer classes, and I'm hoping they come back this year. I took a macrame class, a flower arranging class, a drawing class. The booths that you'll find set up, of course, there's special Festival of the Arts food, but you also see more art displayed. They bring in a lot of the Disney signature artists that you're used to seeing. You can buy incredible limited pieces there. Thomas Kincaid has stuff. Definitely check the Disney Parks Twitter that week leading up to it. They'll tell you which artists are there. You can buy great pieces that are huge originals, signed and numbered. You can buy great prints that are in the $20 to $30 range. And if you have a Disney artist that you love, check their own website. They are there, and they do signings not only on the pieces that are $600 to $6,000, but on those $20 prints. So it's a great way to meet somebody you've admired and have something unique in your home.
Now, on the West Coast in January, we've highlighted some of these that are different than some of the celebrations they do on the East Coast. So give us what we see in January on the West Coast in Disneyland.
I think one of the most spectacular celebrations that they do that I wish we would bring to the East Coast is the Lunar New Year celebration. And it typically goes about 3 weeks. Again, California really focuses on the kids and on the educational component. So there's usually 5 stations where the kids can do different crafts and learn about the holidays. They used to be located in California Adventure. They've been moving them or duplicating them out in downtown Disney, which is great because if you get there late or you only have a little bit of time before your flight, you can go and enjoy those festivities without park admission. But the Lunar New Year celebration is amazing. They do a phenomenal dragon parade, that full-size dragon that dances. They then, whatever the character is for the year, as you know, for Lunar New Year, it might be Year of the Rat, Year of the Lion, Year of the Tiger. Last year was Year of the Tiger. So on the final float in the parade was Tigger in his Chinese garb. They've got special characters and special outfits to meet. It is just a fun celebration time. And the Lunar New Year parade is a pretty short parade. It lasts about 6 or 7 minutes. And so they do it several times a day, which makes it nice for planning purposes.
So if we stay on the West Coast, but we turn the calendar to February, talk to us about the things that we see in Disneyland in February.
They actually do a Sweetheart Festival, which is typically 1 or 2 nights after hours event experience for Valentine's Day. They also do a 2-day celebration of gospel, extra music performers, and lots of extra activities. This past year was the first year, so we'll have to see if they keep this one or not. They had Anaheim Duck Day, celebrating 30 years of the Anaheim Ducks with special cavalcades and hockey experiences in the park.
Uh-huh.
And lastly, out in California, they do a lot for what they call Celebrate Soulfully. It's their celebration of Black History Month. They do a lot tying in, obviously, to the movie Soul. We've talked in a previous episode over at the new Pixar Hotel. You can meet Joe Gardner playing piano every night. But they really do extra music, bring in artists and display art from Black artisans. And then, of course, it wouldn't be a holiday if it didn't have a food guide.
Sure.
A lot of the food centers around Tiana, but then there is more Creole and unique things as well. And if you're ever looking for a food guide, we've got them all. We're happy to send them over to you so that you can plan in advance where you want to be, what you want to make sure to get, because I've noticed over the years those food guides get longer and longer, and it is hard to hit up all of those specialty booths.
100%. And it's one of those things too, like if you get it in advance, you can kind of make your own plan, right? So I definitely advise that. We are coming to the end of the program, which is sad because it's such a cool time of year. But is there anything else that you think folks should know about this November through February time period and celebrating holidays at Disney parks?
Well, I'm going to give you a fake holiday that's going to start in January and go all year on the East Coast.
Okay.
And we will be celebrating Free Water Park Day.
Every
in
day.
2025, you can make your own holiday every day, as long as it's your arrival day. Arrival day only, staying at any Walt Disney World resort, you get a free day at the water parks.
So that could
might
change.
Be a little cold in January, only one water park open, but all year long, it can be a special day for you to celebrate.
But I think to your point, that could change based on when you arrive. If your flight is coming in the morning, then you might have that opportunity. If you're landing at 9:00 at night, that's not going to happen. So just be mindful when you're planning those flights for Free Water Park Day. I'm sure that's something
Correct,
that you're dealing with your
is
clients
your
with all the
arrival
time.
day only, no exceptions.
Well, listen, I thank you for this 3-part series. Obviously, when you've been to Disney World as often as you and I have, we've kind of peppered our trips throughout the entire calendar year, and you and I both have different times of the year that we really enjoy. This show, this stretch that we just had here, November through February, it's my favorite time to visit. I know you mentioned in the beginning it's one of your favorite times to visit. It's tough for you to pin one down, but I really enjoyed tonight, and I enjoyed talking about it for folks that are looking to plan their vacation in this 3.5 month window. Definitely reach out to your travel specialist and make it happen. Thanks for sharing your expertise tonight, Sandy.
My pleasure. And as our nod to New Year's, may I wish you all congaloosh.
Right back at you. That's a wrap this week on Let's Talk Dis. If anyone you know could benefit from this or any show, please share, have them like, and subscribe. And don't forget to reach out to the folks at Easy Dis by Instant Impressions Travel Services for any Disney destination planning. Make it a great week. And as always, keep making memories.